Hi friends, Tracy here from the Sewing Channel. Welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome. Today's block is the fourth video in the series of the free motion quilt along. If you've missed the first 3 episodes of this free motion quilt along, be sure to click the link in the top right hand corner here. I have put all of the episodes into one playlist. This playlist will have every episode from start to finish until the end of this quilt along. There's only one block in today's video, but it's a fun one and challenging. It was for me anyways, so we'll see how you do. I would love for you to be a part of one of my next upcoming videos in this free motion quilt along. Send all of your blocks that you've free motion quilted so far to thesewingchannel33@gmail.com. If you're loving this free motion quilt along as much as I am, be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget about that notification bell because that's going to tell you when I upload. Enough talking already. Let's get busy free motion quilting. Up today is what I'd like to call the star explosion. To prepare your 12.5-inch block, you're going to fold it in half and then fold it in half again, finding the center. Now you already have your 3/4 of a frame all the way around it, so that should be done already. I'm going to find the center and put the 4-inch block in the middle, tracing it with my marker that erases with water. And since I love simple measurements, we made it really super simple. So the middle is 4 inches square. Then each rectangle on the top, bottom, and sides is going to be 2 inches by 4 inches. Find the center right there, diagonally go from corner to middle, and then you have your star points. For this free motion quilt design, we're going to start in the middle and we're going to go into a leaf shape in each one of those squares where we had creased the fabric in the beginning. You should faintly be able to see them. I know you can see them right here on mine. Hopefully that will give you a good guide. And I'm going to kind of veer out a little bit when I make those leaves and kind of give it that rounded effect. And I'm going to travel back to the center to make the next one. And I'm just going to do the same. I'm going to veer out, loop out a little bit. And if you don't get your leaf perfectly kind of fat right now, we're going to be going around it, and you can always swing those curves out just a little bit more to help balance that out. But you're always going to go back to the middle and then back up to that point top. And you see here as I curve, I'm going side to side to side to side. And then you're just going to start in the middle again and just remake the leaf once again. You might remember this from one of the other blocks when we made a really big leaf motif. That was so much fun. This looks really cool in the center of this star block. I just had to do it. One thing you need to remember when you do dense quilting is that you need to keep spreading it out. I hope you notice that with my hands. I keep stopping and sort of just spreading out with my hands the fabric, so that way things don't get puckered or tucked somewhere, or you get too much fabric kind of puffing up in different spots. So it's just a good practice to just hold as close as you can to the needle without, of course, sticking yourself with that needle because that would really hurt. But you just want to get your hands in that area so that you have full control. Now on to the star points. Now you're going to want to have your starting point on the star points sort of in the middle of that bow tie, if you can imagine that it's a bow tie with both those sides. And I just echoed inside and I kept meeting myself back at the middle of that bow tie. But you'll notice here I kind of messed up on this one. Well, I did mess up. And I went ahead and I left it. And I'm going to come back to that middle of that bow area like I said, but I got too much going and I ended up like outlining it so that I was in the middle. I was like, oh my word. So then I had to draw a line or sew a line down, and you can see there, yeah, don't do that. And you just got to keep going back to that center. So, okay, let's imagine that middle of that bow tie there. I'm going to trace around that triangle there, and I'm going to keep going on the inside, but I'm going to keep coming back to the middle of that bow tie. See, even though there's thread buildup there, that's okay. I'd rather have that than a straight line coming from the center. I really do think, though, that that's one of the lessons that we can take away from that particular block area. I mean, your eye sometimes wants to, like a maze, just keep going around and around and around till you hit the center. Or if you start in the center, go out and out and out until you get to the outside. So, I mean, once you get going with this, you probably won't make that mistake again, or you might until you do it so many times that you're like, okay, I'm not making that mistake no more. So, I still wanted to kind of do that though, and I had to catch myself on this one. So just keep that in mind as you do these star points. I mean, they do look really cool. They do look like bow ties, really. They look really cute. I love the way they turned out. And just remember to travel along there, right between the leaf area and the bow tie area. And just an FYI, I'm still waiting for you to send me pictures of your free motion quilt blocks that you've done so far so I can post them in my next video. Be sure to use really good lighting when you take your pictures and email them to thesewingchannel33@gmail.com. I'll be waiting. Now it's time to make our star block explode. Travel up to the middle of one of your bow ties and make an elongated swirl coming right up out of the center. Now, I don't know why I was having so much trouble with these elongated swirls. I can't even say the word. So this first one looks all right, but my other ones, I don't know, they didn't turn out that great. But I wanted to balance them out, so I made one big one in the center, and then I did a couple off to the side going in opposite directions. And well, this one I made a little one coming out of the center there. I don't know. So I wanted like sprays coming out of that swirl, but I was having trouble figuring that out. I mean, in theory, I knew what I wanted. I mean, you saw the sketch, but I don't know. I wasn't really getting it across within the quilt block how I wanted it. And so this is what I ended up with, was just kind of lines, and I would travel along the edge and then travel along the swirl and whatnot. And I wanted them to bend up and outward. So the right side of that spray was coming to the right and the left side of it was going left. You really can't tell in the overall finished product of this, but it's really not my best work, and I probably could have done a lot better. And you see there, just on the side of the block where it's spraying out, that was kind of like my guide right there. So I wanted to travel to the other side, and that's what I was pointing there when I was done with that one. So I traveled through everything to get back to do the next spray. And you can see here, since I was having so much trouble, I actually drew the swirl on there to really help me. And it did help. It did. And so I was just going back down again, and I think I was just having so much trouble with the swirls that's why my sprays ended up being really weird. I don't know. And they weren't straight. So, but you just have to really just stop and think for a second what you're going to do and how it's going to get to that point. So I come up there and then I make my spray go up and to the side. And I thought, oh, okay, that looks pretty good. And then I kept going, and then it wasn't curved right. And I don't know, I just wasn't making the right maneuver or something. I don't know, and you see there, I came down to that point, and that's where I wanted it to end. So that was kind of like my guide. And then I traveled back up and went back down to the center and then made that spray back up again. I really only wanted just lines there, but it's not what ended up happening. So that's why I went into this kind of chunky spacing in between there. So I don't know. I'm not really pleased with that part. So I know that that's something that I need to work on. So that will probably be another block that we do that has that incorporated into it. Because if we don't try it again and do it again and again and again, how are we ever going to learn really how to do it? So yeah, it's probably gonna be another block just like this where we have to do something with sprays and whatnot. So we'll see. And as I'm watching this, as I'm free motion quilting it right now, I'm watching it just like you all are watching it. I'm thinking what probably would have really helped is if I drew the sprays in, like some registration lines, but just a few, you know, scattered in there just to keep me straight. I think that would have really, really helped. So next time I think what I'm going to do is actually draw that in there. Because what was happening was my curves on those sprays got a little wonky. Not a little, they got a lot wonky. And luckily I only did a few before I noticed it. And then I could kind of straighten myself back out and then, you know, keep going. If you all have any ideas on some different blocks that you would like to see in this quilt along, let me know down in the comments. I mean, I don't have everything all figured out right now as far as what the rest of the blocks are going to be. I kind of sit down and sketch them out and just as I go and think of different things. So if there's one that you would really like to see, let me know. It'll help give me some ideas and such. Now, I would love to do feathers for sure, but I've practiced feathers and I just don't know. I don't even know if my brain can comprehend a feather. I'm just not sure about that one yet. That one might come toward the end of this quilt along when we all get really, really good. Yeah, right. I really just need to take my own advice when it comes to feathers. I need to just get in there and just keep doing it and keep doing it until I get it. And that's probably what'll end up happening because I really love the look of feathers. And I just think it's one that we all need to really know and put in our arsenal of quilt designs. I want you to notice on this block, I did do something a little different. I did not outline the entire block because I wasn't sure if I was going to add anything in between those areas that are unquilted. I'm still not sure yet, but this is what it looks like and this is what I ended up with. So if I do decide to put something else in there, I'll let you all know and you can fill yours in too. But as of right now, this is what we have. The next video in this free motion quilt along will be right here on this end screen. If it's not on this end screen, then it's not uploaded yet, but you can click it if it's there. Until next time on the sewing channel, take care.